welcome to our coverage tonight here at the BETMcLEAN Oval. It is a massive game, as it always is, between Glentoran and Linfield, with extra excitement for this one due to the fact it is the BETMcLEAN Cup semi-final. You want to put your best foot forward. Only one of these sides naturally able to make it, but who will it be? Historically, throughout the late 90s and the early 90s, they competed in these finals. But it's been a while from Glentoran actually won this competition back in 2010. It's been a long wait. Could they edge closer this year? And Linfield, 2019 winners, but apart from that, it's been a tough ride for them in the competition too. Silverware up for grabs in March. Who's going to make it to the showpiece? The other game at Solitude, remember, Cliftonville versus Coleraine. Believe it or not, it's the third meeting between these two sides already in the campaign. Let's cast our minds back to the first meeting 2 months ago. So that's what happened in the first match-up. Glentoran with a 3-0 win at the National Football Stadium at Windsor Park. But then they met in the County Antrim Shield. Linfield came out on top in that one by 2-1. We will bring you the team news shortly here at the Oval. But before we do that, let's hear from both camps. We have the Glentoran first team coach, Tim McCann, and Linfield manager, David Healy.
Brilliant encounters. You're on your home turf, and it's always you want to get one over on the old enemy if you could. But more importantly for me, it's about getting the result and get a semi-final.
Every time you play Glentoran, it's important that the players understand the importance of playing Glentoran and your rivals, you know, the big derby that you're going to play in.
It's a chance to play in a good League Cup final, and it's mostly televised. I think it's on the last year. It was on the Sunday, and it was the stadium was packed out. So more importantly, it's a chance to go on, not only beat Linfield, but it's a chance to go on, stake your claim and get into the final.
So it'd be nice the league they've went over and above, and in terms of the calibre and the stature of the League Cup is sort of held in now, so we want to be involved in that. We'll need to be at our best on Tuesday night against a strong Glentoran team.
Well, that's the thoughts from both camps ahead of this massive BETMcLEAN Cup semi-final match between Glentoran and Linfield. Now, when you're talking about big games, the biggest game in terms of attendance in 2022 was the BETMcLEAN Cup final. Over 11,000 people came out to see that, and boy were they treated. A thriller between Cliftonville and Coleraine. Let's remind ourselves of the goals, the action, and indeed the stars that came out to see it.
Well, I'm Cliftonville born and bred. Lived on the Cliftonville Road, still do. My mother still lives there. My era for Cliftonville was in the 70s. My next door neighbour played on the left wing for Cliftonville, and his name was Billy Patterson.
Oh, sensation. There was a big crowd out there today. I mean, if you look across, a lot of Coleraine supporters have come up, and I think also they made a really good effort with charging less for tickets, and that kind of, gives an opportunity for people to come to football finals that they haven't been to before, but it's great.
I'm really looking forward to this. The excitement is building. Of a sneaky... No, I'm not going to say.
We're seeing how the game has changed over the last few years. It's come on leaps and bounds. I mean, we're seeing some of our players getting interest from the Premier League and the Championship, and it's an exciting time for Irish football, and it's just fantastic to be a part of it.
Something's happening today that will get us going in the future, and we can repeat in the future. But this is a great example of how football is building in Northern Ireland.
As we started talking to the people coming in, the crowds were gathering, everyone's in great form, and everyone's going to really sort of skip to their step today. Lovely to see it, and I think long may it continue that you've 10, and I'm hearing just before I come in there, 11. Did someone say 11,000 tickets sold? Between 10 and 11,000 tickets, which is a credit to everyone who's decided to put the work in and organise today.
Well, I mean, the game was good. I just love the fact there's so many people here.
This club is very much part of the community. It defines who people are. If they do well, the community does well. It's the feel-good factor that football gives people, and long may it continue.
The first major silverware of the season belongs to Cliftonville.
Hello and welcome to the BETMcLEAN Oval for this huge match. It really doesn't need any big billing, does it? The two teams tell the story for themselves. A famous rivalry, an historic venue for it, Glentoran versus Linfield. And as managers have told us down through the years, if you can't get up for this one, there's something wrong for you. A semi-final with it all to play for. Michael Clark here with you, Paul Lehman with me on commentary. We will hear Paul's thoughts ahead of kick-off in just a moment's time, but let's first bring you the team news. And for Glentoran, 2 changes from their defeat at Seaview. Ali Roy and Hervoy Plum are in. Sean Murray makes the bench. Singleton is out entirely, and there is a return for Shannon Clucas, which is some good news after his injury woes. For Linfield, it's just one alteration from their victory over Carrick Rangers. Cammy Palmer gets the nod over Ethan Devine, who is amongst David Healy's substitutes. So both teams have gone for strong lineups. Paul Lehman, maybe no surprise, we've heard what both camps have had to say in the build-up to the game. Mick McDermott, speaking in the papers, has been talking about rock and roll football. This is the big one. David Healy says they haven't even hit their high notes yet. So what are you expecting?
I'm expecting a blood and thunder game. You know, it's a Big 2 derby. Never mind the bragging rights of a Big 2 derby. There's a final at stake here for Glentoran and Linfield. Early in the season, both clubs will want to get a final, and the League Cup has become a major final now. As such, within our league, Nifl have done a great job to promote the competition. It's backed by great sponsorship. It's a sort of a big day out in the calendar now, and both teams will want to get there. I think Glentoran at this moment in time are going through a bit of a sticky patch. They will need that boost of getting to a final. Linfield are in good form, and it just makes it all to play for tonight, and I'm expecting a really good game.
And when you look through both teams, plenty of firepower in there as well. A reward for Ali Roy and his good performance at the weekend. That's a big boost for his confidence. It's so competitive trying to break into the first team, but he's got his place for this one.
Yeah, he's someone who I seen in pre-season at Glentoran. He looked very sharp. He looked lively. But, he struggled to get into the team because of the form of Conor McMenamin, Shea McCartan, Jay Donnelly. McCartan's now missing, McMenamin's injured, and now he's got that opportunity, and it's up to him to grasp that opportunity with both hands and really show Mick McDermott and show the Glens fans what he can do.
And it gives you an idea of some of the names that are missing for Glentoran. Linfield, it's well rehearsed at this stage. They've got a lot of injury problems themselves, but Joel Cooper back. He returned against Carrick Rangers. What a lift that will give them.
Yeah, that's a huge boost for Linfield, because you and I did the league game against Crusaders, and I think we said on the night they just lacked that creativity in the final third, and Joel Cooper is someone who will give them that creativity. He's such a key player for Linfield, as Conor McMenamin has become for Glentoran, and they'll be delighted to have him back tonight.
Just listen to that roar as the teams make their way out. Glentoran in what has become nearly a de facto home kit for them. They really seem to like playing in that black strip. Linfield in their traditional colours, led out by our match officials. The man taking charge with the whistle tonight, Tim Marshall. It's his second League Cup game of the season following the round of 16 clash between Coleraine and Ballymena United. Coleraine playing at Solitude tonight against Cliftonville in the other BETMcLEAN Cup semi-final. He'll be hoping that he's very much not part of the storyline as it unfolds.
I'm just looking in the lineup here early, Michael. I've spotted it early tonight. Patrick McLean is no longer in the Glentoran starting team. Aidan Wilson, skipper in the team. It looks like young Aaron Whiteman is now starting, so that's been probably a forced change with Glentoran. Just when I seen that Aidan Wilson was skipper in the team, I looked along the line there, and it looks like Paddy McLean has been a late withdrawal, because we did watch him in the warm-up.
It's been a recurring theme lately, hasn't it? People pulling out of teams just before the game starts, but you're earning your keep already, Paul.
Listen, eagle eye there. I think we looked in the warm-up, and it was Patrick McLean, Luke McCulloch and Aidan Wilson. We thought they would start as a back three. Now it looks like Glentoran might go to a traditional back four, and just change their shape slightly. So a forced change in the warm-up, But listen, that's what the big squads are there for, and they've got able replacements.
They most certainly do. The fans are bringing the noise. Great atmosphere building up around the stadium, as you would expect, and we're in the month of December as well, 20 days away from Derby Day, and, well, they'll not be thinking about that yet. It's clearly all about reaching another final.
Yeah, as a player, these are the games you want to be involved in, the big crowds. It's a great night for a game of football, and, there's a final at stake. As I said before, not just the big two bragging rights, there's a final at stake, and as a player, you want to reach those finals, you want to win these competitions.
Standing over the ball, ready to get us rolling in just a moment, is Vertainen. 2 goals at the weekend. Has he brought his shooting boots with him? Tonight we shall see. Burns reading that one and winning the header, as Ali Roy gets his early touch of the ball, but not his bearings. Kept in by Mulgrew. So narrow down there, but threaded through nicely to Cooper, who was just caught on the wrong side the challenge there, and Cooper has won the first free kick of the match.
Yeah, it's good play from Cammy Palmer there, who's back in the Linfield team, and Cooper, as soon as he gets it, he's looking to take people on. He's positive.
Not waiting around. Cooper's delivery! The flag is up. It would not have stood anyway, but an early warning for Glentoran inside the first minute of the game.
Yeah, Glentoran just switched off there, Michael. The quick free kick, and as I say, Cooper looking to be positive early on in this game. He gets a good ball into the box. I think it's Vertainen on the end of it, but he can't keep it on target, but the flags went up anyway.
Wilson watched by Roscoe and sent back with some gusto. That midfield battle. Well, there's the first proper collision, and it's cracking of heads there, so attention to be paid by the referee just to make sure everybody's all right, proper order. But you can see anywhere the ball goes at the minute, there's so many bodies around it. It is compact, and people are probably the wrong time to use this wording, need to keep their heads.
Yeah, they will. And these games are, normally they're frantic. There's a big crowd, there's a big atmosphere, there's so much at stake, and these players will be going out into this game, onto this pitch, fired up by both managers, and you can see that there's been a bright start so far. There's been challenges flying in, and on that occasion it looked like a clash of heads with Devlin and Palmer, and let's hope they're okay.
Should just say at the start of our programme, our live coverage, it's great to have you along on the official Northern Ireland Football League YouTube channel. If this is your first time watching a stream, hopefully it's the first of many for you. There's already been a couple from across the Northern Ireland Football League, and you can catch up with some great content on the channel, so do subscribe if you haven't done so already. I promise I'm not going to be plugging furiously throughout the match, but I'm aware for some people this is slightly different, so it's nice to have you here, and hopefully you enjoy yourself. We can't promise the results. That's the disclaimer I always offer. Finlayson for Linfield, as Linfield look to try and find a way in behind. The flag is up against Vertainen, who feels that was a close run thing.
Yeah, it was a good run from Vertainen. Linfield just early on in this game, Jamie Mulgrew's picking up a bit of space in the middle of the park, and he's getting on the ball. And on that occasion, it was a good run from Vertainen, but again, he finds himself offside there. He just managed to get him behind Luke McCulloch, but Linfield have started brightly.
Perkis just judged not to have been able to keep that one in. He will be certainly a player to watch amongst the many talented players out there. He has made a brilliant impact, hasn't he, since arriving?
He has, and earlier in the season he was coming off the bench and he was really making an impact in games. He got a few goals. He scored in this fixture as well, and he's earned his place in the team now. Obviously there's a few injuries, but he's in that team of merit. I watched him on Saturday against Crusaders, and I thought he was one of Glentoran's brightest players on the day.
Well, Hervoy Plum being back is also something that I'm sure Glentoran fans are happy to see for what he adds, including but not limited to from set pieces, as he tries to spy a good pass. Well, I give him the build-up, Paul, so it's my fault.
I was just about to say myself, he's key in these situations, those set pieces, and that's not one that he'll remember, but normally 9 times out of 10 Hervoy Plum he'll put the ball on the money for Glentoran.
Jay Donnelly, and a little bit of a goal drought as well. With his goal at Crusaders, even if it ultimately wasn't do much for his team beaten, and a bit of a sticky patch for Glentoran, but they bring it out from the back well here with Luke McCulloch trying to turn defence into attack.
Does well there, Luke McCulloch. He's so composed in at the back there for Glentoran, a player who's been out for a long time with a cruciate knee ligament injury, and it's great for Glentoran to have him back.
Only a handful of games since returning, 11 months out. That's a long time. Cooper, really nice play from Linfield and an option on here. Back it goes to Palmer. They're getting the bodies in the box. McCulloch able to get it away before Vertainen could reach it. Chris Shields came and swung a limb, couldn't really gather it. McDaid will get a shot away, but it's watched all the way by Aaron McCarry.
Yeah, again, it's good play from Linfield. Initially by Cooper, again being aggressive, taking people on, being positive. And it falls to Robbie McDaid. He's playing in that sort of wide left forward position, finds himself in that channel, and he's never really going to trouble McCarry from there. But it was decent play from Linfield.
Perkis being closely watched. He wasn't protesting, even though a few others were. Race to reach the ball. Whiteman keeping Shields honest. Linfield are the team with the form behind them coming into this game, and after how the last couple of matches against Glentoran went, the first game in particular obviously heavily beaten, responded with a victory in the County Antrim Shield, and that's been part of this good run that they're now on.
Yeah, I think they're unbeaten in 10 games now.
Yep.
Michael, the big thing for Linfield is they're not conceding too much at the back now, whereas earlier in the season they were, and that gives them a big chance in games, and that gives them something to build on.
Offside there. McDaid was the furthest player forward. Easy one for the assistant official on the near side to indicate. Takes a bit of the pressure off Glentoran defensively too.
Yeah, Linfield have enjoyed more of the ball in the first 7 minutes or so, and Linfield, they've just been picking up more of the loose ball around the midfield area. Shields has been getting on it, Mulgrew as well, and Cooper's had a few glimpses. Glentoran will just be looking to get their foot in the ball. They're going a little bit longer, as we see now from McCulloch.
Mulgrew. Thought he had his heel clipped there. Yes, referee in agreement, gives the free kick. David Healy speaking before the game, really emphasising how important Mulgrew has been for them, not just down through the years, which is an obvious statement, but over the last month or so, carrying the team at times when others maybe haven't been in the best of form. He has continued to put in good performances.
Yeah, and he looks really fit and sharp again. I think Jimmy's 36 now, so for him to still be playing at this level and still influencing the games the way he does is a credit to him, and it's a credit to his fitness, and he still has that drive and that hunger to for this Linfield team and to be successful. And I know he's a player that Glentoran really have to get the grips with. Him and Shields in that midfield area are key.
Game 698 for Linfield tonight for Jamie Mulgrew. That speaks volumes. Vertainen did really well there and was bumped off the ball and is left banging the ground.
Yeah, I think it's a foul from Devlin, a little late one, and he's given away a few fouls early on, and looked like a sore one for Vertainen. But again, Linfield are just picking up the loose ball more than Glentoran, and they're able to get their foot on it and play more passes, whereas normally Glentoran here at the Oval, we expect them to be the team in possession, dominating the possession. They just haven't been able to do that so far.
You can see Linfield not shy in sending blue shirts forward. Gallagher trying to meet it, wasn't able to. Finlayson it was who rose to get his head to it, but with no real direction. And Shields surveyed before pinging into Cooper for Tynan. You can see the idea, but so could Glentoran.
Yeah, it's a good idea, and it's a good run from Robbie McDavid from the wide position into the box, and just the ball's just overhead. But, you know, Linfield, they're getting bodies forward when they get into the final third. They're getting bodies forward in support, and they are enjoying the lion's share of the possession so far.
In case you're joining us late, the change to the team news for Glentoran. BETMcLEAN pulling up with an injury before the game, so he dropped out, and in his place stepped Aaron Whiteman, who was initially listed amongst the substitutes. So it's Whiteman trying to get under the ball now. Well, the assistant is flagging. That's a yellow card for Whiteman. Be interesting to see that one again. The home fans being very clear that they're not happy, but the assistant official who was right in front of that challenge was definite, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think the ball's there to be won from Aaron Whiteman. I think he has to go and be aggressive. You know, both players are going for the ball, but perhaps the assistants thought he's been over aggressive in his challenge. But you know, for me, it's one that he has to go for there. It was a loose pass, and he's tried to go in and win it.
Well, the 18-year-old has certainly received plenty of plaudits. Rodney McAree was saying that he believes he's someone that has a real opportunity to get across the water.
Yeah, and again, it's good to see him getting his opportunity here tonight, you know, in the starting lineup, and you know, it's up to him to take that opportunity. But he's certainly a player with bags of potential.
Finlayson's going to be able to reach that one. Worked so hard to get there as well. Was a little overhit, but he caught up with it and has been able to earn his side a set piece.
Does well, Finlayson. And Ali Roy has to track him back the whole way, and you know, that's been the sort of start of the game. Linfield have been aggressive. Their fullbacks are looking to get forward. They're looking to get bodies forward. And Ali Roy, who's a striker for Glentoran, having to work really hard in defence on that occasion.
Linfield leaving a couple of players around the halfway line just in case there's a counter attack, but most of them in and around the penalty area, as you might expect. McCarry peering around the men on the line. Wilson winning the aerial duel, and Glentoran trying to counter, but Palmer sniffed out the danger.
It's Danny Purkis looking to get away in the counter-attack that time. Palmer does well to see the ball out there, but it was good defending header there from Aidan Wilson from the corner from Linfield.
Purkis looking lively. 8 goals already this term. Only Conor McMenamin has more for Glentoran than him. That tells you how quickly he's found his footing again since returning home.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, you know, he's played at lower levels and he's always scored goals, bags of goals at the amateur league level. But when he went to Glenavon, to be fair to him, he scored a lot of goals there too. But Glentoran have taken a little bit of a chance on him, and it's paid off so far.
This former Glenavon manager is just across to my left. It's Gary Hamilton amongst the stars that are here watching the game. Linfield taking it quickly. Cooper, I think, was maybe caught in a bit of a surprise that it reached him there, and nobody else alert to it. That made it easy pickings for McCarry. Launch tie and long. Roy got the touch on. You could see Purkis, he initially wants more players helping him out. Maybe feeling a little bit isolated.
Yeah, I mean, Glentoran are playing very long, you know, first almost 14 minutes of this game. They've yet to really get it down and keep possession of the ball, play it through the midfield. Everything's been quite long, and you know, it's difficult for Purkis up there, you know, against Gallagher and Roscoe. It's a difficult one for him to try and win all the time. Jay Donnelly's playing a bit of a deeper role for Glentoran, and they're looking for him to get close to Chris Shields here, which is, you know, it's a bit unfamiliar for Jay Donnelly, that role as well. So to me, Glentoran just haven't got the grips with their shape and their system. We see Mick McDermott here just giving some instructions on to his team and to try and get the the shape together and to try and sort of get a foothold into this game. They just haven't been in the game so far. So I think Jay Donnelly's now gone out on the right hand side and they've brought Whiteman inside against Shields, so big responsibility for that young man against Chris Shields.
A little bit of a rejig from McDermott. Burns watched it and won the initial one. Play brought back for the challenge. Free kick awarded to the hosts.
I think again it's one where I think Cooper he's entitled to go for it there, but he just catches Roy a little bit high there and the referee's deemed it to be a foul. He's pleading his innocence.
You can just see Glentoran a couple of times trying to slow things down a bit, which nearly contradicts itself when they go long then, because you're not helping yourself out in one way, you're buying time and then you're giving it away.
And again there from the ball from McCarry, it's a long ball. Linfield just let it go through to Chris Johns and now they try to build the play again. So I would just like to see, you know, Hervoy, Plum and Terry Devlin getting their foot in the ball in that midfield area and just trying to control a bit more possession for Glentoran. So far it's been Linfield that have been dominating that area.
Visitors have looked comfier on the ball.
It's just Glentoran not getting close enough to them now in these areas where they have the ball now. That's fine, but you know, even in the midfield areas they've been getting, you know, for me they've been just getting too much time and space on the ball, and that's where they can hurt you.
17 victories between them in this competition. They are the two most successful teams. That probably won't surprise you. Both keen to make sure that it's their name etched on the trophy come March. Just waiting for a bit of movement there, really, weren't they? Throw in, taken, ricocheting through, but Palmer continues to battle. And Plum able to find a pass in a very tight pocket in the pitch. And that's a smart header from O'Brew. Knew they didn't have much time. And he gets it back again. Vertainen trying to direct where he wants the pass, but it's instead gone to Cooper. Only one thing in his mind, but Luke McCulloch was ready to get in the way.
Yeah, again, it's good play from Linfield again, and they're quicker to the ball, they're dominating possession. Again, as soon as Glentoran win it, they're giving the ball straight back to them. They've got to be better in possession of the ball. And again, they just haven't got the grips with Linfield, and they haven't got the grips with the Linfield sort of shape and setup, and they're finding too much space.
Well, you could hear the exasperation with the home fans a moment ago with that poor pass. Vertainen. And Glentoran's body language is quite telling. One or two players remonstrating with each other.
Yeah, I just think you've seen Bobby Burns there. He's just asking the guys who are playing in front of him, you know, to be more compact, to be harder to play through. At this moment in time, it's all too easy for Linfield to play through Glentoran and work their way into that final third, and they forced another corner.
First goal of the night in the BETMcLEAN Cup, the other semi-final. Cliftonville 1-0 up against Coleraine. Ronan Hale on the score sheet at Solitude. Linfield trying to do the same here across the city, and they have managed it. A lovely glancing header, and it's Roscoe who applies the deft touch to send the travelling fans into raptures.
It's a really good goal from Roscoe. The delivery from Matty Clark is what makes it, and the timing of the run from Roscoe, and you know, the pace on the ball is what makes it, and all he has to do is get that little glance on it. But you know, from a Glentoran perspective, again, they conceded a couple of soft ones on Saturday from set pieces, and you know, they've done the same again here tonight, but they really haven't started in this game. I expected Glentoran to come out here tonight and really be on the front foot, semi-final. They haven't started so well. You know, they find themselves a goal behind the first 20 minutes.
Sam Roscoe on his 60th Linfield appearance gets the goal that puts the Blues in front in the semi-final. And that is how the match has been going.
Yeah, Linfield have been the dominant team.
And trying to add to their dominance here. It was a lovely little flick through, and the challenge coming in takes it away from Mulgrew. Glentoran will be concerned with this, however. Wilson just pulled up as he was trying to get back. And they could ill afford to lose another player.
Yeah, looks like he's took a sore one. I think he was maybe at full stretch there to try and stop Jamie Mulgrew there breaking into the box. So, and again, having just conceded, you know, Glentoran again find themselves on the back foot. They just seem to be a little bit in disarray with their setup, and they're not getting close enough to players. They need to be more aggressive and pressing Linfield, and you know, they have to respond now. They're a goal behind. It's a semi-final. They're looking for a response. They'll be hoping Aidan Wilson's okay from this knock.
He has been a pivotal player in their defence.
He's been superb. He's been a superb signing. He's been a real leader for them. You've seen from tonight, he looks like he's going off, unfortunately.
So Glentoran, who already lost Paddy McLean in the warm-up, are now going to lose Aidan Wilson, and it's a look down the list of players. Who do you think they would bring on in this scenario?
I think, you know, Shannon Clucas is on the bench tonight, who's, you know, a defensive midfield type player. He could possibly someone that we'll be looking to. Reece Marshall could play in there as well, so they'll have a couple of options, but it's not ideal. It's not ideal. You know, they're not playing too well early on in this game. They're now having to rejig the team with in the warm-up, and Paddy McLean get the injury, and now another key player, Aidan Wilson, looks like he's going to have to go off, and that's a nightmare for the manager.
And whilst they're trying to get to grips with everything going on, Glentoran, because of that injury, we saw a shot a moment ago of those young Linfield supporters really enjoying themselves. Linfield are having the perfect start, really.
Yeah, and I think, you know, as much as, you know, I'm criticising Glentoran for a poor start, I think, you know, Linfield have been excellent. They've been positive. They look confident, you know, and Cooper looks dangerous. Shields and Mulgrew are really dominating that midfield area, and Glentoran have yet to threaten them, you know, in 20 plus minutes. It's been long ball from Glentoran. They haven't been able to get their foot on it, and I'm expecting so much more from the Glens.
Well, how difficult is it when you're coming into a game, you've had a disruption, you know, already a couple of poor results, then you have something that's happened, an influential figure pulls up in the warm-up. How hard is it to try and just set all that aside and play your best football?
It is difficult because you're looking, you know, Paddy McLean is one of the leaders of the team. Aidan Wilson is one of the leaders of the team. They've lost these two guys now, and, you know, there's a lot of inexperienced players around the Glentoran squad as well, so you're looking to those leaders, but it's up to these players now. As I mentioned before, it's a semi-final game. They haven't started well. They've just got to get the grips with the game, and you know, they've got to play a lot better, and you know, it'll be interesting to see just how they change things here now with losing Aidan Wilson. It's a key loss for them.
Well, nearly every member of the coaching staff's talking to someone, trying to get some message across. Paul Miller talking to Reece Marshall, Mick McDermott and Tim McCann were trying to offer their own instructions, and now Whiteman's called across and being spoken to. So a bit of a delay as they get their change ready, and it will be Clucas. Well, not the ideal way for him to really make a return, is it?
He hasn't played a lot of football, but you know, sometimes you come into these big games and your adrenaline gets you through it. Michael, it's a huge game, and again, he's one of those players with real leadership, and he's, you know, he's an aggressive type player, and I think Glentoran probably need that at this moment in time.
Then again, Declan Goodell hadn't played football in 6 months, and he did all right for Crusaders, so if he's fit, he certainly has the talent. Clucas getting ready, but for the moment, Glentoran down to 10 men.
I just wonder, will they Reece Marshall's just gone into play there, and Aaron Whiteman's playing at right fullback, where he's played there before, and then Clucas should just slot into the midfield perhaps.
Vertainen brought down by Plum. He's really strutting his stuff at the moment. You can see he is full of confidence.
2 goals on Saturday, you know, for any striker, he's going to be high in confidence. He looks sharp. He's looking to get on the ball, take people on. He's been good so far for Linfield.
Confirmation of that change for Glentoran, as there's a good reception for Shannon Clucas as he enters the fray. So another bit of a rethink for McDermott. Another enforced change. And presently a goal behind. Roscoe's header separating the teams. Palmer. Cooper. That was a close wrong thing. He puts it in, but the flag has come up against Joel Cooper. And that looked very close.
That was very, very close, and I was just about to say it. It's just too easy for Linfield to play through. They just played through Glentoran. 4 or 5 passes, they're in on goal. It's a super finish. That looked a very, very close decision. You see it there, it actually looks like he is behind the defender. That looks like a poor decision, I have to be really honest there, but again, it's too easy for Linfield just to play through and create that opportunity.
We talked about the impact that Cooper's return would have. You can just see the energy in attack, which they were lacking in recent weeks, Linfield. Even when picking up results, it wasn't their best stuff really, was it? And they just look more potent with Joel Cooper in their team.
Yeah, he's so positive. He loves to take people on, but when he gets into the final third, when he gets into key areas, his delivery's really good, his decision making's good, and you know he's that game-changing player that they've maybe lacked over the last few weeks, and you know he certainly started this game really well.
Purkis did well to win his duel. Plum can only hook it into the air, and Scrappy. Players out of position, and Cooper licking his lips at the prospect of it all. Finlayson. That is a really well worked move again from Linfield. Maybe just a little too high for McDade, straining to reach it. But again, Linfield carving Glentoran open.
They are, and they're getting a lot of joy on this right hand side. And you know what your Alistair Roy is just into the team tonight. It's his first start in a long time, and you're asking him to track back, you know, constantly where he wants to be attacking. He doesn't want to be defending in the left back area, and you know Linfield are getting a lot of joy on this side. And again, as you said, Michael, they've carved Glentoran open there, and it's just, for me, it's all a little bit too easy. For Glentoran have got to get tighter. They've got to just take responsibility, mark a man each, get tight to them, start putting a few tackles in and get close to Linfield. It's all too easy for them.
Remarkably, it's the first time either team in this campaign have faced a Premiership side. Glentoran's run saw them play Institute, Warrenpoint Town and Loughgall. Linfield faced up against Moyola Park, Dundela and Anna United. So they knew it had to happen at some point. When the draw was made for the previous round, which also showed them their path to the semis and potentially the final, they knew that this fixture could happen. But Linfield have been comfortably the better side. 28 minutes gone.
Shannon Clucas is the player who's gone in at centre half, and what you have in Glentoran's midfield three, you have Aaron Whiteman and Terry Dowell. You have two 18-year-olds in there, you know, two smashing young players. I rate them highly, but their inexperience in there, and Linfield's experience so far in that area has told, and they just can't get the grips with it.
Gallagher is offside. Not the first time that pass has been on, though.
Yeah, Jimmy Gallagher just getting the time and space to sort of drive into the midfield area, and he's looking for that diagonal pass, but McDade was about a yard offside there.
In that last passage of play, I just thought McCulloch bringing the ball down is something maybe they need a bit more of, just a bit more composure. It's easy to say from up here, and it's difficult when you haven't had a good start, the adrenaline's pumping, but slowing things down, would that be a wiser move maybe if you're Glentoran at this point in time?
They haven't had a lot of the ball, you know.
Oh well, played onside by McCulloch here for Tynan. He's ghosted past one and another. He's got it onto his left and he's got it in the net, and Linfield are blowing Glentoran out of the water.
It's just so easy, Michael. You know, Glentoran, you mentioned it there about slowing it down and getting their foot in the ball. They did that for a few passes there, but they turned the ball over again in midfield, give it away. Linfield break through, but you know, Tynan's got a lot to do. I thought he'd overrun the opportunity. We see it here. Glentoran have got enough bodies back there, but again, no one gets close to him. No one puts a tackle in, and you know, he's able to find the time and space to find the finish again. And you know, let's take nothing away from Tynan. He started this game really well. It's an excellent goal from him, but from a defensive point of view for Glentoran, it's got to be so much better. It's too easy.
8th goal of the season across all competitions for Tynan. Linfield's second on the night, and Glentoran's challenge has just become that bit more difficult. Still a long way to go, but Glentoran are up against it. McDade, that is lovely stuff from him. Mulgrew. Cooper. Burns did well, but Cooper gets the break of the ball through determination. And Perkis gets the ball of the ankle in frustration. Fans, apart from the plane above us, making all the noise.
And again, Glentoran worked so hard to win that ball back in their defensive area there, and they just cleared it, give it straight back to Linfield again, and that allows Linfield to build this possession again.
Well, Mick McDermott is standing at the edge of his technical area offering instructions, but the players, I have to say, and that's a rather needless foul for Palmer to give away. The players from Glentoran are looking around a little confused at the moment, not really sure whose job is what, where should I be, and that is a couple of them out of position, of course, but we're trying to rectify that now, and this is an amazing run. Whiteman, Gallagher to the rescue for Linfield. A moment of brilliance for Whiteman.
It was brilliant, it was better from Glentoran, and that's where they want Aaron Whiteman to be. That's where they want, you know, Jay Donnelly to be, Danny Perkis in the final third. It's the first opportunity Glentoran have had. It's really good from Whiteman, and you know, he just delays his shot a little bit. For me, he should have got the shot away just a second earlier. That allowed Jimmy Gallagher to get back and make the block. It's good defending from him, but positive from young Aaron Whiteman.
Will that just lift Glentoran a little bit? They have appeared shell-shocked. Whiteman, Perkis, Jay Donnelly was in the middle. Roy. Well, he just slipped there, and that's allowed the ball to cross the line.
Yeah, but it was better from Glentoran again. They're just patient in their build-up. Danny Perkis makes a nice little run down the side, and he's looking to get the cross in. Unfortunately, he just overhits it, but you know, it's taken Glentoran to go 2 goals behind, and now the last couple of minutes they've had their best little spell. Good chance from Aaron Whiteman, and they need to see more of that.
Plum was caught as he played that. Great touch by Marshall. Showed good balance as well. Plum has stayed down, incidentally. His teammates continue to play on. Well, he was holding his ankle. And he's going to go back down again, Hervoy Plum. Just,
I think in the very start, the build up that move from Glentoran, he just played the pass forward and he got caught a little bit late. Maybe a sore one on the top of the foot there. But again, Bobby Burns on that occasion, Glentoran enjoying a little bit of possession, and he just needlessly goes for the long pass. He just needed to retain possession there, because that will give Glentoran more confidence if they can get on the ball, build their way back into it. They're turning the ball over too quickly to Linfield.
It's fascinating watching the dugouts as the throw-in comes in again. David Healy doesn't have the body language of a man that's winning 2-0. He's certainly fired up himself. Glentoran have improved.
Yeah, and I think David Healy will know, at 2-0, it's a dangerous scoreline, and Aaron Whiteman had that chance. It could have been 2-1 easily. The whole game changes again. So, he will be saying that to his players, don't be complacent and, keep playing the way they were playing, whereas Glentoran can only get better, and they have done the last few minutes.
Roy. Donnelly. Burns. Good work from Burns. Into the grateful grasp of Chris Jones.
It's much better from Glentoran. Jay Donnelly, we haven't seen him too much in the game. Gets on the ball between the lines, plays it out wide to Bobby Burns. Nice little 1v1, nice little move, and gets a decent cross in, but Jones deals with it well. But it is much better from Glentoran the last few minutes.
Vertainen hanging on the last man, but just venturing forward a little too soon there. Assistant flagging referee allowing play to resume quickly. Fascinating to see what the managers do next. It's like a bit of a game of chess here, and Linfield have the early advantage, so they won't want to rest on their laurels or go down the gears too soon here either.
No, and I think from Linfield's point of view, Glentoran have come into the game the last 5 minutes. They'll not want to give anything away, and they've just dropped their levels slightly. Glentoran, they seem to got more to grips with Linfield, certainly in that midfield area. They've managed to get a few more passes, a few more touches on the ball. They've created an opportunity which will give them a bit of hope, and as I said before, that their performance can only improve, because the first half hour was really poor from Glentoran.
Gallagher driving forward for Linfield. McCulloch got the last touch in that. Vertainen more than happy to take the corner.
It's good defending from Luke McCulloch. Said before, Vertainen's looking sharp, looking dangerous. And again, another set piece from Linfield where the first goal came from, and Glentoran have got to defend this properly. Delivery from Matty Clark is excellent on this side. He's looking to whip it in with pace and try and get those runners coming across where they got that first goal.
Yes, his delivery that teed up Roscoe for the game's opening goal. Will lightning strike twice? It's in again. It comes back to him. It is a wicked delivery that he has. It's another very good one, and McCarry reaching up to deny Roscoe. The defender looking for his second of the match, and McCarry responding with great agility.
Yeah, it's a good save from McCarry. It's a good ball into the box from Clark. Roscoe again, getting up above Luke McCulloch, and Aaron McCarry at full stretch. And he had to be to put that one aside.
Glentoran under the cosh again. Linfield trying to compound their misery, and very nearly did. Gallagher this time getting his head to it, and McCarry again able to provide the answer.
Again, it's a brilliant save from McCarry. You know, it's going down low to his right hand post, and he gets across, and it's a brilliant save. But for me, McCarry's got to be coming for the corner maybe initially. The ball's, it's 2 yards from goal. For me, he's maybe got to be coming and helping his defence from the initial corner, but take nothing away from him. That was a class save.
Gallagher just drawing Tim Marshall's attention to a bit of pushing and pulling going on in there between himself and Clucas. Thought he's being a bit too tightly marked. Glentoran not able to rid the danger, but the flag is up, and Tim Marshall's just spotted it now, so Glentoran will, at least for the moment, have a bit of a reprieve.
Yeah, it's important, Michael. You know, you've 4 minutes to half time, and if Linfield got a third goal there, it's probably game over. Whereas if Glentoran can get in here at 2-0 or better and just try and rejig their team, and if Mick McDermott can galvanise them for the second half, they could still be in this game.
Devlin, little robust as he went for the ball there. Play able to go on. Shields spinning away, outnumbered but not outthought or fought. And Mulgrew caught by Devlin, who has responded rather angrily, and will, be the latest player to receive a caution.
I think it's more to do with he's had 3 or 4 fouls now, young Terry Devlin. Didn't think there was a lot in that tackle. He had every right to go for it. He might have even got something on the ball there, but the referee's given the foul, and I think it's because he's given away 3 or 4 now. He's found himself in the book. And Matty Clark here, this is a good position for Linfield to try and whip that ball in again on top of the Glentoran backline.
Glentoran have struggled with set pieces in this match. They come out of that one unscathed. If it is to be 2-0 at half time, would it be a fly on the wall? I imagine some harsh truths will be expressed in the Glentoran changing room.
Yeah, I think there will be. I think early on in the game they got a lot of basics wrong, and they let themselves down a bit. They weren't getting close enough to people. They weren't aggressive enough. But you've got to sympathise with them too. They've lost Paddy McLean in the warm-up. Aidan Wilson has gone off, and they've got key players missing, as do Linfield. But those key players for Glentoran have made a massive difference over the last few weeks.
Well, Linfield have a player down. Tim Marshall spotted that and has held the proceedings, and that is just the latest thing to annoy the home fans. Well, the job isn't done for Linfield by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm sure they will be delighted with what they have managed so far in this game.
Yeah, they'll be pleased, and even since they've been 2-0 up, they've a couple of more big opportunities there just a few minutes ago to really put the game to bed. They'll be pleased. I thought the first half an hour, although we're saying Glentoran weren't really up to their usual standards, but Linfield, I thought they were excellent. They kept the ball really well. They created numerous opportunities, and they really played in the front foot.
Interesting to see what additional time we get in a moment. Shane Andrews, the fourth official, just getting the board ready. For Tynan. He's making everything look very easy at the moment.
It's been excellent, you know, his hold-up play, his touch on the ball, the runs that he's been making. He's been excellent in this first half, and you know, he's in really good form. Carrying on from Saturday, and he's in good goal-scoring form.
You can see there 3 additional minutes added on at the end of this first half. BETMcLEAN Cup semi-final between Glentoran and Linfield. Linfield looking for a third before the break. And look who's back defending. Jay Donnelly stepping across.
He had to, he done really well there. Jay Donnelly getting right back in there. Again, Linfield on the attack for Tynan doing well, looking for the runner. Jay Donnelly tracks back the whole way, and it was really important interception for Glentoran.
Is there to be a goal before half-time? Glentoran could really do with one. Linfield trying to guard against that. Passes like that will not help the home side's cause.
No, I think Bobby Burns, it's the right idea, it's the right pass. He's just got to, you know, keep it on the ground and just put it into Ali Roy's feet, and then he can take on the defender in a 1v1 situation. It's a poor pass from Bobby Burns.
Jones. Well, it's a good thing Chris Jones was so quick at coming out, because that opened up.
His starting position was really good. It was a lovely ball from Herboy Plum. Danny Purkis on the run, and you know, Jones, he has to be alert. He has to come out and clear the danger there.
No shortage of talking points in this first half. Clucas. Devlin. Got it to Plum and Marshall. Can only play it off a Linfield player and into the air, but Donnelly can turn, and now Glentoran can get some players forwards. Roy wants it for himself. He's gone for glory, and he's sent it, well, by some distance off target.
Again, it's better from Glentoran. Bobby Burns does really well to overlap him on the left-hand side, and you know, that creates a little bit of space there for Ali Roy to try the attempt at goal, but you know, unfortunately for him and for Glentoran, it's miles off target.
Little shoots of life from Glentoran. And no more time to express themselves or register another attempt on goal, as rather audible boo was chorused by the home support, who, well, have probably seen enough in that first half. A difficult first half for Glentoran as they trudge off for their team talk. It'll be a very different one, Paul Lehman, to Linfield's, and to give Linfield their full credit as well. Just how impressed have you been with them in this first half?
I think in the first half an hour, Michael, they were excellent. Glentoran just couldn't get the grips with them. It was all too easy for Linfield. You know, they were making the right decisions in their passing, they were making good runs. They looked so dangerous, and you know, they found themselves 2 goals up, and then Glentoran came into the game a little bit in the last 15 minutes there. Linfield still had a couple of opportunities from set pieces where they looked really dangerous, but there's a few little glimpses for Glentoran, and the half-time team talk from Mick McDermott's going to be so important now.
Do you imagine there's going to be alterations at the break?
I don't know if they can make too many alterations. Glentoran, you know, looking at their bench, they really have to go for it. So I wonder, might they bring Rory Donnelly on, but he's coming back from an injury. You know, looking at Kirk McLaughlin there, another attacking player, because they probably need to have a little bit more of a go at it, Glentoran, but they've got to be careful too, because Linfield are so dangerous on the counter. So it's a difficult one for Glentoran, but with it being a semi-final of a cup, for me, they've got to come out and really have a go at Linfield and get this crowd behind them and try and get back into the game.
Okay, the thoughts of a man who knows what it takes to win this competition. Two teams tussling away here in East Belfast, trying to reach the final so they can do just that. The half-time score here in the BETMcLEAN semi-final, it is Glentoran 0, Linfield 2.
brilliant encounters. You're on your home turf, and it's always you want to get one over on the old enemy if you could. But more importantly for me, it's about getting the result and get a semi-final.
Every time you play Glentoran, it's important. It's important that the players understand the importance of playing Glentoran and your rivals, you know, the big derby that you're going to play in.
It's a chance to play in a good League Cup final, and it's mostly televised. I think it's on last year. It was on a Sunday, and it was the stadium was packed out. So more importantly, it's a chance to go on not only beat Linfield, but it's a chance to stake your claim and get into the final.
So be nice. The league they've went over and above, and in terms of the calibre and the stature of the League Cup is sort of held in now. So we want to be involved in that. We'll need to be at our best on Tuesday night against a strong Glentoran team.
Well, I'm Cliftonville born and bred, lived on the Cliftonville Road, still do. My mother still lives there. My era for Cliftonville was in the 70s. My next door neighbour played on the left wing for Cliftonville, and his name was Billy Patterson.
Oh, sensation. There was a big crowd out there today. I mean, if you look across, a lot of Coleraine supporters have come up, and I think also they made a really good effort with charging less for tickets, and that kind of, gives an opportunity for people to come to football finals that they haven't been to before, but it's great.
I'm really looking forward to this. The excitement is building. I'm not going to say.
We're seeing how the game has changed over the last few years. It's come on leaps and bounds. I mean, we're seeing some of our players getting interest from the Premier League and the Championship, and it's an exciting time for Irish football, and it's just fantastic to be a part of it.
Something's happening today that will get us going in the future, and we can repeat in the future. But this is a great example of how football is building in Northern Ireland.
As we started talking to the people coming in, the crowds were gathering, everyone's in great form, and everyone's going to really sort of skip to their step today. Lovely to see it, and I think along may continue that you've 10, and I'm hearing just before I come in there, 11. Did someone say 11,000 tickets sold? Between 10 and 11,000 tickets, which is a credit to everyone who's decided to put the work in and organise today.
Well, I mean, the game is good. I just love the fact there's so many people here.
This club is very much part of the community. It defines who people are. If they do well, the community does well. It's the feel-good factor that football gives people, and long may it continue.
The first major silverware of the season belongs to Cliftonville.
brilliant encounters. You're on your home turf, and it's always you want to get one over on the old enemy if you could. But more importantly for me, it's about getting the result and get to a semi-final.
Every time you play Glentoran, it's important. It's important that the players understand the importance of playing Glentoran and your rivals, you know, the big derby that you're going to play in.
It's a chance to play in a good League Cup final, and it's mostly televised. I think it's on last year. It was on a Sunday, and it was the stadium was packed out. So more importantly, it's a chance to go on, not only beat Linfield, but it's a chance to go on, stake your claim and get into the final.
So be nice. The league they've went over and above, and in terms of the calibre and the stature of the League Cup is sort of held in now, so we want to be involved in that. We'll need to be at our best on Tuesday night against a strong Glentoran team.
Well, I'm Cliftonville born and bred, lived on the Cliftonville Road, still do. My mother still lives there. My era for Cliftonville was in the 70s. My next door neighbour played on the left wing for Cliftonville. His name was Billy.
Welcome back to our live coverage of the BETMcLEAN Cup semi-final between Glentoran and Linfield. Linfield 2 goals to the good, and Glentoran making a change at the break, Paul Lehman.
Yeah, it looks like Hervoy Plum's come off. He took a bit of a knock there towards the end of the half, so young Mal Smith's come on, he's going to play at right fullback, which is his natural position, and it looks like Reece Marshall's moving into centre midfield for Glentoran, and Reece will give them legs in there and energy, and they need to get the grips with that area of the field, and they'll be hoping Reece can do that.
No surprise that Linfield aren't going to shuffle the pack at this point, sticking with what's working. Their goals, in case you missed them, from Roscoe and Vertynen. Linfield more than value for their 2-goal lead. What will the second half bring us? Glentoran need a big response. Linfield want to try and pick up where they left off.
I think Glentoran have to improve, and that's what McDermott have told them. Their first half performance overall, it wasn't good enough. In a big 2 game where you expect it to be blood and thunder, tackles flying, and they hardly made a tackle, and certainly in the first half hour it was all too easy for Linfield. Glentoran need to come out and be more aggressive, and they need to have a go now. They're two goals behind.
Linfield already have the County Antrim Shield final to look forward to, a repeat of last year's final against Larne. They've gone some way to booking their place in the March final of the BETMcLEAN Cup, but can't take their eyes off the prize yet. Smith gets it back from Clucas. They score in the other semi-final tonight. Cliftonville 1, Coleraine 0. We'll keep you updated as best we can about developments at Solitude. First chance for Glentoran to potentially test Chris Jones since the restart. Whiteman, Devlin's peeled away in the middle. Jones could only parry initially, but was able to gobble up the second one.
They worked it well there on the left hand side. Aaron Whiteman finds himself in space. puts a decent delivery in.
Not a great challenge. And Jay Donnelly is yellow carded as Matthew Clark will receive some treatment here.
It's one of those ones you see it quite a lot in football, that the player's just looking to clear the ball up the line, and the player closing them down has just come in. He's at half a second late, and the contact's made, and the referee's no choice but to give him the yellow card there.
Matthew Clark getting the treatment, and well, maybe Tim Marshall is in some way as well from McDermott. Bit of a chat going on there. Moral support offered by Shane Andrews, who's just surveying.
I think Matty Clark's not the type of player to stay down easily there, and he's definitely took a little sore one there. I think Jay Donnelly even acknowledged that he was a little bit late.
File it under forwards tackle. Clark is fine. Play resumes. Gallagher's got his skates on here, and he's got a free kick as well.
Yeah, and he's been excellent in this game. Jimmy Gallagher driving out from defence there. He's so comfortable on the ball, and it's no surprise that he's back on top form the last number of weeks, and Linfield are in good form as a result of that. He's such a leader for them. Himself and Mulgrew and Shields, and in that defence for Linfield. But they're so good. They're so comfortable.
Well, that's not the right idea in the end. They look up and saw Whiteman being the most advanced player and rushed things a little bit. There were options to come across the pitch.
Yeah, I think Jay Donnelly made a great run on the right hand side, and Ali Roy just needed to take that little second, assess his options and maybe play the ball wide, whereas Aaron Whiteman had made the run. Linfield have stepped up and played him offside, and again Glentoran now found themselves on the back foot again.
Fine margins, but they can end up proving to make a telling difference. Whiteman sticking to Shields, making life difficult and doing a good job there.
Yeah, he's been asked to go in there and do that job, but up against a class player in Chris Shields, and he's working so hard, the young lad, and it'll be a great experience for him and his development.
Oh, lovely touch through, and a fine tackle as well. Clucas covering, cutting out any sort of route to goal for Cammy Palmer. Linfield's usual suspects continuing to show their menace. Smith did well. Donnelly, not so smart from Smith. Yeah, a few unhappy with that. What was your view on it, Paul Lehman?
I'm not so sure about that one. I think Mal Smith he's just come in from the side of Robbie McDade. I can see why the referee's giving it.
Trailing leg.
Yeah, just on the replay there. But initially I didn't think there was an awful lot of contact in it. And again, giving away the free kick and a chance for Linfield to put the ball forward against them.
That's what they're trying to do. Clucas has added a bit of that steel that was missing, hasn't he, since he's come on?
I said that, just before half time, that the Glens had hardly made a tackle in the game, and it was all too easy for Linfield, and you don't expect that in a game like this. Big two rivals, you expect it to be full force from both teams, but Glentoran just didn't have that in the first half. But there's been a few more tackles made in this second half. They're getting a bit closer to people, which is more positive.
was pleading that the last touch had come off the Linfield defender Gallagher there. The referee didn't see it that way. Bit more convincing in the build-up. Devlin doing well with the pass. Marshall showing, a bit of vision. Glentoran stringing passes together, which, well, you can file it under the basics, because in some ways it might be, but they weren't doing that in the first half.
No, they weren't. Everything just seemed to be doing everything wrong. But take nothing away from Linfield. Linfield were excellent as well, but it was a bit of both. Linfield were good, Glentoran were poor, and as a result of that, they found themselves 2 goals behind, giving themselves a mountain to climb in this game.
Carey on by Marshall, but Perkins having to make up ground to get there, and plenty of endeavour, but was second favourite. Just given a bit too much to do. Linfield had the numbers in there. Mulgrew threading the pass. Cooper going through the gears. McDade got there ahead of Smith, but Clucas helps Glentoran step out. And now Whiteman just wants to show them a clean pair of heels, and he's been caught by Gallagher. Not for the first time in this match. It's a little bit of invention from Whiteman and a willingness to run at defenders.
He's shown some really good glimpses. As I said before, he's a player with great potential. No fear. He's not afraid to take people on there. It's really positive from Whiteman. The game opened up there just now. We've seen Linfield having the opportunity. The game opens up. Glentoran on the counter-attacking. Now they've got a chance themselves. I wonder if Devlin will go for goal here.
It would take something special from this distance. Jones is watching on. Dinked in, but over the head of Donnelly.
It's a good idea from Devlin, and just overhits the pass, but even from that sort of range, for Donnelly to get the header on target from there is going to be difficult. Why not test the keeper? See Glentoran just put Linfield under a little bit more pressure now, and as a result of that, there's more passes going astray from Linfield, whereas in the first half that pressure wasn't there and it was all too simple. They were able to just put their foot in the ball, build up the play.
Mops up so neatly, doesn't he, Chris Shields?
He's so good at that. He plays that little position just in front of the 2 centre halves, and he makes it difficult for the opposition to play through him. He picks up so many second balls and just gets Linfield on the front foot again. Superb footballer.
Can be an underappreciated skill. He just seems to have eyes in the back of his head. Knows he can take a step backwards. He's not, drawn into that false sense of security of you have to keep stepping forwards all the time.
He just reads it so well, and he just controls the pace. He dictates the pace of the game for Linfield.
Well, he has been the metronome. They've been ticking over rightly. Glentoran have improved, but they will need to continue to improve if there's going to be any sort of reward from this. Little spell of possession here. McCulloch. Clucas. And as they commit bodies forward, naturally it's the risk of being set upon, but Devlin stepping away from one challenge and stroking it wide. Glentoran with 3 players lining the edge of the area. They'll settle for the throw-in and they'll edge a little closer to Linfield's box. Whiteman was hoping to find the run of Smith. Clucas able to get there before Vertatten, and a little look of concern on the face of Shannon Clucas, just what you don't need when you return to fitness as a sprint like that, but he did very well.
He did. He dealt with the situation well.
Nothing doing there. Robbie McDade's eyes went straight to the referee, who was happy to let play continue. Purkis held it up very well, and McDade back defending this time, gets the challenge in at the expense of a corner.
Again, it's better from Glentoran. The ball goes up into Danny Purkis. He holds it up well, brings young Mal Smith into play. They force the corner, and you can hear the crowd getting up for it once Glentoran are on the attack there. It's much better from him.
What can they produce here? Deep ball into the box, and it's Mulgrew who is the first to respond.
I thought it was just the corner kick from Bobby Burns. It needs to be driven in more. It's just too much height on that ball. It allows Linfield the time to defend it. They've got to take advantage of those situations when they win the corners and the free kicks high up the pitch.
Great battle here. It's a great battle in the league as well. So tight. Linfield have gone above Glentoran for the time being. Glentoran with games in hand. Linfield are in Edinburgh this weekend playing in the SPFL Trust Trophy. So Glentoran can maybe right a few wrongs in the league when they play Glenavon. Obviously, I've said Gary Hamilton's here doing his homework.
Yeah, you know, they've got to deal with tonight, but you know, then they'll look forward to Glenavon, and you know, they've lost a few key players, as we know tonight. It'll be a bit of a patched up team again on Saturday, and that just seems to be a way of it for Glentoran the last few weeks. They've not been at their best, but you know, it's a long season. There's a long way to go.
Long season, a packed out December as well. Glenavon on Saturday, then Friday it's away to Carrick Rangers, away to Cliftonville the following Tuesday, and then Linfield come here again for Derby Day. For Tynan. Purkis nearly reaching Whiteman. A bit more like it from Glentoran, but the bounce is not exactly Luke McCulloch's best friend, and eventually he gets the support he was crying out for from his keeper.
It's such a difficult ball from Luke McCulloch there. You know, should the keeper come, should he not? Luke, he has to deal with the situation, and in the end McCurry does help him out.
The longer that went on, the more it appeared as though he was thinking, any moment now you're going to help me.
Yeah, he never looks flustered, Luke McCulloch. You know, he's such a good player, such an experienced player.
Reece Marshall just asserting his seniority, getting the ball, trying to move his teammates on. Like that pass from Clucas. Donnelly's first time ball not working. Clucas beyond Palmer and Mulgrew. Coming together off the ball between Shannon Clucas and Chris Shields, and it's a decision in favour of the Linfield man.
Yeah, it's silly from Clucas. Glentoran, and good build up there, you see. Shields is just trying to go and press Bobby Burns, and Clucas puts the arm around him, and he lets Linfield off the hooker when Glentoran were building up the possession nicely. Stops the momentum in the attack, and you know, lets Linfield get that little respite. Linfield at this moment in time, you know, Glentoran are enjoying more possession of the game. Linfield are happy to just sit back, soak it up, play on the counter, and really manage the game. Glentoran, they need to force the issue, and they're certainly doing that in the last few minutes.
Apparently around 600 Linfield fans booked to go to Scotland at the weekend to watch Linfield play Kelty Hearts. Maybe a few more will consider going after enjoying this. I think a weekend away just before Christmas could be in order for a few people.
Yeah, I think if you probably asked them, they'd much prefer to be playing in the league. You know, they've got that momentum at this moment in time in the Irish Premier League, and they want to keep that going. And they're going to play a fixture in Edinburgh now, and I'm not sure how welcome that probably is overall for the club, given their league form and stuff.
Indovertainen tried to create a bit of magic there. It was just arriving in behind him, and he nearly pirouetted on it, but not quite.
Yeah, again, you see Linfield, as I said before, they're happy to sit back in the second half, soak up the pressure, play on the counter. When they do break, they break in numbers and they break quickly, and they look dangerous with Cooper and Vertainen up top.
Linfield hoping to put the icing on the cake. Mulgrew, options around, but they're keeping it simple, keeping it safe. Can play with the patience that they've earned through their position in this game. Roscoe got that one wrong, and that's the sort of challenge from a defender that knows he's messed up moments before.
Yeah.
Roscoe booked, and play's just going to be brought back here as Palmer will pick himself back up.
Yeah, he's done well there initially. Roscoe just coming out from the back in possession of the ball, gives away the ball needlessly, and he finds himself out of position, and he's got to give away the foul then to stop the counter attack from Glentoran. And again, it's an easy yellow card for Tim Marshall to give. You see it here, he just turns over the ball. He knows that Jay Donnelly's away from him. There's the little trip. Palmer was actually there to deal with it.
That age-old instruction that we've heard from managers: thou shalt not pass. Good defence is built on that. Another change coming for McDermott's charges, and it's Ali Roy who is being summoned to come off. Kirk McLaughlin, the young attacker, formerly of Coleraine, he's being introduced.
Yeah, again, he's a young player who he's made a few appearances in the County Antrim Shield and the League Cup in the earlier rounds. Hasn't played a lot of league football, but again, it's another opportunity for him. Glentoran will be hoping he can come in, young player, no fear, and try and impact this game. Ali Roy worked really hard there. Just it's a difficult game for him. He was having to track back quite a lot in the first half, and not much from him from an attacking point of view. But Glentoran will be hoping McLaughlin can impact the game from an attacking sense, because they need something to happen, and needed something to happen quickly.
McLaughlin got his first Glentoran goal against Warrenpoint Town in this competition back at the start of October. Since added to it with a goal in the County Antrim Shield against Ards as well. Glentoran, to put it bluntly, will not care who gets on the score sheet for them here, but they need someone to do it soon if they're to make a fist of this. Otherwise, Linfield are coasting into the final. Has to be done. Throw into Glentoran. 23 minutes left. Linfield managing the game. Glentoran still chasing it.
Glentoran just need a little moment of magic from someone just to try and get them back into this game. Linfield, as you say, are managing it well. We're waiting for the right sort of opportunities and times to attack Glentoran again.
All the way back to Jones. Return to sender of sorts. Whiteman. Marshall. Linfield have plenty of bodies back there, proving very difficult to break down. Jay Donnelly. He's been kept quiet. They need more of that from him.
Yeah, they just need, that's what I'm saying, they just need that little bit of creativity in the final third, someone to do something perhaps out of nothing. Jay Donnelly's that he can be the man for Glentoran. They need to get him on the ball higher up the pitch.
McCulloch eased over by Palmer.
And again, it's positive from Luke McCulloch, you know, driving out from his defensive position.
Well, this is something that Linfield will be hoping isn't too serious, but Jamie McGrew just sat himself down.
Is he feeling his hamstring there, was he?
The expression on his face shows that he knows he's not feeling too great at the moment, and you wonder whether they will feel it's even worth risking him, even if he is fine to continue.
Yeah, it looks like he's just feeling his hamstring there, and you know, if there's any doubt whatsoever, they'll bring him off. They won't want that to be anything long term. He's so important for them.
Cal McLean on the bench, so might be.
Yeah, he'll be coming off.
The option. Cal McLean indeed actually is ready and all, ready and waiting.
Yeah, you just can't take any chances with the hamstring, you know. Otherwise, you're talking 4 to 6 weeks out. Then, if you overstretch it or maybe tear your hamstring, if it's just a slight tweak that he's felt, you know, come off, take no chances. And Kyle McLean's an experienced player to come on in Jamie's place.
The reception that Jamie Mulgrew's become accustomed to from the Glentoran fans as he heads off. Cal McLean is on.
Jamie was excellent in the game, you know. Almost 70 minutes there, he was superb.
Shields, I think he initially was holding his head, but he's back up again. Cooper, he's fast, but Marshall, quick thinking.
Marshall was like lightning there.
Virtual, ever present. Bobby Burns is being very honest. I think he had a shot for a free kick a bit sooner than he was given one, but he's got the free kick anyway. And he was denied the chance to take it quickly by Robbie McDade, who was just allowing some of his teammates to get back in position. And Robbie McDade receives yellow card for his troubles. Just a little bit of needle appearing.
Yeah, as a result of a few loose passes. A couple of hospital passes, you would say.
Nutmeg from Clucas on McDade. Linfield still enjoying the 2-goal cushion provided to them by first half goals from Roscoe and Vertynen. And Vertynen is onside. McCarry has come a long way. And he got there first.
Yeah, it's important there, McCarry. Again, he sees the danger early, comes out and he has to make that clearance.
Last we heard still 1-0 at Solitude as well between Cliftonville and Coleraine. Game kicked off the same time as this one. As things stand, the holders heading through to face the team that last won it in 2019. Incredible looking before the game at this one. The last time Glentoran won a semi-final to reach a final, their goal scorer was the same person that scored Linfield's last semi-final winning goal. That was Andy Waterworth. And we know how prolific he's been down through the years, and that maybe also gives you an idea that it's been a while for Glentoran, and it looks like the wait's going to continue as far as this competition goes, at least anyway.
Yeah, well, I was shocked that, I was asking you before the game, Michael, Glentoran's last League Cup final. It's 2010. Now, I missed that one with injury, but I was still at the club. That's how long ago it was. And for a club like Glentoran, you expect it to be in these type of finals, every other year. And certainly now with the squad that they have, and the depth of squad and the finances behind them, I do expect them to be challenging for these trophies. It's been too long.
Connor Pepper on for Cooper there. Whether that means a change for Linfield, but certainly means they're able to rest the legs of Cooper.
Yeah, and obviously David Haley with possibly 20 minutes to go, or just less. He's thinking, Joel Cooper's done really well tonight, and just thinking about seeing the game out now, and with that more of a defensive change. Connor Pepper coming on. The game's 2-0 up Linfield. They just need to be professional in what they do and manage the game. It's up to Glentoran to take the game to them and try and get themselves back into this game in the time that's left. So far, they've created very little.
Donnelly dispossessed. Peppers found himself a bit of space. He's got a good ball in, and it will be turned in. Palmer and Linfield have booked their place in the final. Glentoran have struggled to keep up with him tonight, and Pepper, the substitute, had his part to play in this goal.
Yeah, it was brilliant from Shields again. He's been outstanding for Linfield. Connor Pepper in the overlap. It's a good ball to the back post. I think the first header, I'm not sure if it's McDade, should possibly score from the first cross. The ball then bounces and Cameron Palmer's alert. He gets in there, gets his header away, and 3-0 Linfield, and the game's gone for the Glens now. Connor Pepper picking up a yellow card for his celebration. Unfortunately, he's run to the stand in front of the Glenmen, who have given him a bit of stick. You've just got to take that stick. He's running in front of the Glenmen, and he's been silly there.
One or two of his teammates have made that point to him. Just saw a hand of acknowledgement from Connor Pepper. Emotion can certainly get the better in these fixtures. We know all about it. We've seen it many times, and Glentoran versus Linfield down through the years is a match where people have fallen in love with football and had their hearts broken by it, and I think both sides of that story could be true here tonight as well. It's a good night if you're a Linfield fan, and an absolutely miserable one otherwise if you're supporting Glentoran.
Yeah, Glentoran came into this game. I just thought Glentoran, as a team, they've been going through a poor spell of late, and I just thought this was a game that could perhaps give them that boost that they needed to kick on again in the season. But it hasn't happened for them. Linfield have been the better team throughout. They've had little spells, Glentoran, but they haven't created any opportunities, and
they need to make sure they're not bringing any more trouble on themselves as well. Pepper going for the spectacular, and it's at that stage in the game where you may as well have a go from there, but it was comfortably wide.
Again, I just can't believe there Bobby Burns. So poor possession of the ball there, gives it away, taking a touch in a dangerous area when he doesn't need to, and Linfield almost making him pay again.
Well, this is going to be Glentoran's 5th defeat in their last 7 matches across all competitions. That is really bad reading.
It really is, and I was chatting earlier, the night that they beat Larne 4-0 here, I walked away from the Oval that night thinking this team looks unbeatable. I really did. They look so comfortable against the quality Larne side. they were so comfortable in the game, so confident. The players, just every one of them looked up for it. And now, don't get me wrong, they've had a few injuries. They've lost Conor McMenamin, who's probably the best player in the league. They've had their difficulties that way, but they've still got a lot of good players, and that form is just not good enough for Glentoran.
Linfield looking to make matters worse for them. McDade lashing it goalwards, and it just bent away at the last moment.
Yeah, it's Robbie McDade. He picks the ball up 30 yards from goal. It's a really good run from Vertanen. He should probably slip Vertanen in there, but he opts to go for the shot himself. He wants to score against his old club and try and rub salt into the wounds.
Since that 4-2 defeat against Larne, Linfield have been unbeaten. It's about to stretch to 11 games. This is a team that were written off at the start of the season.
You can never write them off. They've been there, done it. They've got a superb manager, got really good players, experienced players. It was important Glentoran didn't get carried away with the start that they had. And equally, you can never write Linfield off. So, as we said before, it's a long season, league football, anything can happen. It's just amazing to see how things have turned around so quickly for Glentoran, having looked unbeatable. I would say that they looked unbeatable.
And Linfield looking forward to at least 2 finals this season, but not looking beyond this match, I suppose, whilst there is 11 minutes remaining of it. McLean saw the loose pass, but Glentoran able to correct it.
Jimmy Gallagher's been superb in there for Linfield. You see him just reading the danger there again. Cuts out the pass, sets Linfield on the attack again.
How many times has that been said down through the years?
Listen, he's a quality player, and I know him as a youngster here at Glentoran. He came through our team, and you just always knew he was going to be a good player.
Over 350 games in the colours of Linfield now. Gallagher, one of the league's finest defenders. Chastening night for Glentoran. Palmer couldn't get it under control as he stretched his studs towards it. Whiteman. Sums up their night, doesn't it?
He's got nowhere to go. Bobby Burns, he can possibly go back to the goalkeeper, but they're 3-0 down. He's looking to play a positive pass forward. There's no one really looking for him. And the Glens have just been void of ideas the whole night. They've been so poor.
Palmer just stretching something out there, whether it's a little bit of tightness, bit of fatigue at this point in the match. Linfield have Newbury, McKee, Devine and McStravick on the bench in terms of outfield players that have yet to be used. David Walsh is their substitute goalkeeper, but we'll wait and see if they decide to dip onto the bench or whether Palmer will continue on in a moment.
Be a little bit of cramp for him. But again, when the game's at 3-0, you don't want to take any chances. And he, again, Cameron Palmer, important player for Linfield when he's fit. Again, he's had his injury problems, and they want to make sure he stays fit.
I think those supporters are enjoying themselves. A give and take between stands.
And there's a healthy crowd here tonight, which is great to see. There's World Cup games on tonight. Still, you're able to. There's maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people here tonight, which is fantastic for this competition. For in a midweek game. The Linfield fans obviously a lot happier. The Glentoran fans will be coming here tonight against their biggest rivals. They come out in numbers, expecting a better performance than what they've seen from their team. It's been very disappointing.
Just over 7 minutes to go. Glentoran 0, Linfield 3. At the Oval, Linfield heading to the BETMcLEAN Cup final, where as things stand they will meet Cliftonville. Be very interesting to see how this match looks in 20 days' time on Boxing Day. Is it going to be a different story? Linfield, it's been a while since they won back-to-back games against Glentoran, and that tells you all about how Glentoran have been performing. But Conor McMenamin's been such a big part of that success story, and they haven't looked the same without him here, I must say.
I don't think you can label any team as a one-man team as such, you know, but he is so important for Glentoran. When the games are tight, which a lot of games are, you know, he's got that magic, as Cooper has for Linfield, just to turn a game on its head.
Oh, the flag has stayed down. It's going to go up now as Pepper takes the ball. Well, he thought he was the onside one, is basically the charades of that, if I'm reading the body language right. But the assistant official put the board up. Well, there has been a goal at Solitude. It is now 1-1. Matthew Shevlin has levelled proceedings, so Korean have found their way back in the game. Linfield making a double change, as you can see. Newbury and McStravick are coming on for Palmer and McDade. McStravick, who burst onto the scene in this competition against Anna United. That quick goal on his debut, impressed off the bench against Crusaders as well. Recently turned 18 years of age, diminutive figure already, and I say this with a great degree of caution. I'm not making the comparison, but people have already said he's quite like Paul Smith. There's a long way to go yet, and let's not put any pressure on young shoulders, but that shows you just how impressive he has been.
Yeah, he looked, I saw him against Crusaders and he looked really lively, and you know, again, as a young player he played with no fear, not afraid to take people on, and I have seen him in certain under-20 games. I watched him in the Victory Shield as well. I actually think I played against his dad, so show you the age. But no, he's a player with huge potential.
Michael Newbury has been on the pitch, what, a minute? And he didn't appreciate the coming together with Bobby Burns. Tim Marshall is just diffusing matters. And like the arms around the back, hands being shaken. And I don't think either really wanted the yellow card, but they have got one.
Yeah. Bobby Burns just getting involved after the tackle and getting himself a booking, but you know, Newbury did go in strong against Bobby Burns there.
Both players hoping that if they played nice in front of the referee he would let them off, but not this time. Most of the yellow cards in this game have been for little silly things like that, actually, rather than any malice.
Yeah, there's been a lot of silly bookings,
petulance and afters rather than bad tackles, which I suppose you would prefer rather than seeing many bad tackles flying in, but they're so avoidable.
We don't want to see bad tackles, but you know, we want to see a competitive game, let's say. You know, it's a Big Two derby. But then you're not really allowed to tackle in football now anymore, are you, Michael?
Spoken like a man that enjoyed a good 50-50.
I read a good article last week by Mark Glentoran in the Belfast Telegraph, and he said that, you know, certainly he don't think he could play today's game. His game was all about being aggressive and tackling. What a fantastic player he was.
Superb player, not shy. Loved some of those. Clucas keeping the art alive. Good challenge by McStravick, able to poke the ball away from Whiteman. Clark just took a little nudge as he was tackled there, and well, will take his time to get back up as one man exclaims, "You're having a laugh."
Yeah, it's a real soft foul, but Clark, he senses that the contact is going to come, and he just goes over easily, and the referee gives it.
I really enjoy some of the heckles I hear at games. I can't always repeat them, but that one's delicious. Thank you for that. Give me a wee smile. Dying embers of the game. Glentoran heading out, just trying to preserve pride at this stage, whatever's left. It's a bruising defeat at the hands of their bitter rivals. No escaping that. Gallagher stepping across and sweeping it out of play. And whilst it's exactly what Linfield wanted, Glentoran are going to have the difficult job of just trying to put this behind them and getting back to winning ways. It seems to be that just they've had a blip at this part of the season.
But they have, and they've had injuries, they've had loss of form, they're not playing well. But you can't feel sorry for yourself. There's so much still to play for. They've got to pick themselves up after this, and they've got to be better. It hasn't been good enough.
Is there a consolation goal in it for them? Jones punches. Donnelly sort of scuffed as he tried to strike through it. Connor Pepper powering away. And, well, I think Mal Smith has been caught as he won the challenge there, just on the back of his head. And I hope the young man's all right. Great commitment in the challenge. And good to see that they're straight over to make sure that he is okay.
It was a good tackle from Mal Smith, and egged on by the Glentoran crowd here in the top stand, because it was against Connor Pepper. But hopefully he comes out of that one okay. It looks like Connor just catches him on the follow through, perhaps with a knee. Both players fully committed.
30th appearance for Glentoran Mal Smith. 3 goals for the club. He went on loan to Ballymena in January, played a handful of matches there, and involvement limited this season for the first team, but did play in the County Antrim Shield against Distillery. He's been on the bench a few times in the league, but there's obviously concern here for him, and it's sort of the incidental coming together as such as 2 minutes have been added on as Pepper runs with the ball, Smith makes the challenge, and it's just the collision that follows after it. And to be fair, they were very quick to identify that he is in some discomfort and that it is a head injury, and as a precaution of stretchers there, and I hope it is only just a precaution for Mal Smith, who has certainly not had a great deal of luck, has he, when it comes to different injuries and things like that.
Yeah, it's hard to see there from that replay, but he certainly took a heavy knock there, and let's hope he's okay. Mal Smith, he's a young player, he's been here for a few years now. Limited game time, but he's again a player with a lot of potential. He's got his opportunity tonight, and looks like he's got a bad one here.
Yeah, he's going to have to come off. I never really understand why, and it's not officials' fault because it is currently the rules, why they tell us how much additional time there is during a stoppage, because it's going to have to be added on anyway. But it's really not the important point at the moment, as we wish Mal Smith well and hope that this is not as bad as it first looks, but this is going to be, I think, a lengthy stoppage, Paul Lehman.
Yeah, it looks like it. There's a bit of concern there for young Mal here. Let's hope he's okay. The Linfield medical staff are in as well as the Glentoran medical staff, and everyone's concerned for him there. Let's hope he's okay.
Well, the referee has just blown the full-time whistle. A subdued way for the game to end given the circumstances, and again we echo that the sentiments that we hope Mal Smith will be okay there as he receives full medical attention from the club doctors. From a football perspective, let's look at the match and review it on the face of it. If you're a Linfield fan and you're loving what you've seen, Paul Lehman, what was your take on, if we look at Linfield first, the display they offered us?
Yeah, I thought Linfield were excellent from the first whistle. Linfield were, they took the game to Glentoran. They were aggressive in their forward play. They passed the ball really well, and they really took it to Glentoran. And Glentoran were on the back foot right from the off. Never got going really, the game was really a 2-0 in the first half an hour. You'd probably say the game was probably over then because Linfield was so much in control. I think the only opportunity Glentoran really had was the chance with Aaron Whiteman when Aaron Whiteman broke through, but Linfield just controlled the game for 70-80% of the game, and I expected this to be a much tougher game tonight than what we saw. And yes, Glentoran lost a few key players, one in the build-up, BETMcLEAN, and one during the game, Aidan Wilson, but their performance just wasn't good enough tonight, and Linfield were excellent, and they've got themselves through to another final.
Contrasting feelings in terms of where they go from here. It's a difficult spell for Glentoran, no doubt about that. Injuries only compounding that fact. But Linfield through to the final, and will it be Coleraine, will it be Cliftonville? One apiece. Shevlin equalising for Coleraine moments ago in that match. Just a reminder that the Northern Ireland Football League on their YouTube channel, as you're watching this, lots of great live content to come. We have highlights, interviews and much more across the channel throughout the season, so if you haven't done already, please do hit the subscribe button. Linfield have soaked up the adulation of the travelling fans, and they'll happily take a few jeers as they head down the tunnel in front of the home supporters. Mission accomplished for Linfield. 3 goals they have managed to score at the home of their rivals, and maybe right a few wrongs as they might have seen it for that bruising defeat they suffered at home in the league against Glentoran by the same scoreline.
Sometimes it takes a defeat like that to get a response. And it's good to see young Mal Smith back up on his feet here. That's so important. It looked like he took a nasty one there. But sometimes it takes that damaging defeat to get a response out of your players, to really find out and soul search and as to where you're at. Linfield got that response after the Glentoran defeat. Glentoran are on the back of a really tough run of form. They've lost a few players with injury, but they've got to get on with it now. That's why they've got the big squad here at the Oval. They've got to get on with it. They've got to pick themselves up for Saturday now, but they've certainly got to do a lot better than what they played tonight, because I thought they were, for large spells of the game, they were so poor.
Well, something you couldn't see there, which I thought was a lovely touch, was even the Linfield directors and the Linfield board members stood in front and applauded Mal Smith as he got back up. Obviously the Glentoran contingent were expressing their concern and their relief ultimately that he is back on his feet, but nice gesture from Linfield to make sure the young man was okay, and a reminder sometimes things bigger than rivalries. But the full-time score here, Linfield through in convincing fashion to the BETMcLEAN Cup final after a whopping 3-0 win at the home of Glentoran. Thank you very much for watching, Paul Lehman. Thank you for your company. Thanks everyone. We bid you good night. Bye bye.